This is our friend Rufus, and he's come up to Charter Vets today to finish off his root canal treatment. Rufus fractured a tooth about two or 3 months ago, and he was feeling really sorry for himself. He got a very nasty infection that was causing a lot of pain, making him feel like he didn't want to do much at all. He was actually just lying down on the floor most of the time, whimpering. So as you can see, Rufus is now feeling a lot better. He's in today just to have a crown fitted. But we're making a film today to tell you a little bit more about the other stages of Rufus's treatment and how he's come to feel so good about life. Hey? And you are just lovely, aren't you? Yes. Now really, it's all about the pulp. Pulp is made up of nerves and blood vessels in the main and connective tissue, and usually it's sort of well looked after by the hard tissues around it, enamel and dentin, really robust stuff, and then this kind of jelly-like pulp just lives in the middle. But look, it can't really stick up for itself if it gets exposed to the outside world. And in a fracture, all of a sudden, we have the opportunity for bacteria in the mouth to meet this pulp. When that happens, bacteria enter here, come all the way down here, and boom, we get a tooth root abscess. Now, we really only have two options to treat a tooth like this. One is to extract it and take the tooth away, and the other is to perform root canal treatment. Now, you might be wondering, why would you go down the route of a root canal? If you're a vet watching this, you probably already know at least one of the answers. Taking out a German Shepherd's mandibular canine is not fun. We have a much larger root than we do crown, approximately 1/3 to 2/3, and funnily enough, the roots aren't designed just to come out. They don't want to come out. So it's really quite a significant surgery to go extracting the teeth here and getting that root out properly. We also would lose a tooth which is useful in communications and play and holding objects. And we also lose a tooth which is actually helps give sort of stability to the lower jaw. So step one of Rufus's therapy was to remove the pulp, cleanse the infected canal, and place a temporary dressing where the pulp once was. Which means we fill up the canal with a material which will just cleanse that whole environment and get rid of all those microbes that we don't want down there.
Good grief.
It's coming.
That's incredible.
Smells worse than it looks. That initial treatment is a temporary dressing which we remove in 6 to 8 weeks' time, all being well, where it should have done its job and just calmed down the whole environment and got rid of all the bacteria. And then we are in a position where we can place a permanent fill down the canal. Now, in Rufus's case, whilst we did that, we also sized him up for a crown, or took a impression of his tooth, to put it more accurately. With my impression, someone with the know-how can make a clay model and then cast a metal alloy crown over the top of it, which will be perfectly sized for Rufus's fractured tooth. So why do we use metal crowns, and are they always necessary? No is the answer, but with Rufus, it was a young tooth. Young teeth have very wide pulps, which actually means they have thin, relatively speaking, walls. So that's a thinner dentin wall, so the tooth is not as robust or as strong as it could be. We've also, in part of Rufus's treatment, drilled a hole just here, which does weaken the structure somewhat, but we needed to do that to get the pulp out and to cleanse the tooth properly. But Rufus, finally, is also shown us to have some form with doing daft things with his teeth. His dad lovingly calls him Rufus the Doofus, and so he may continue making daft decisions with what he does with his mouth. So placing a metal crown over the top just shores up my handiwork and reduces the risk of kind of further fractures on that tooth there. And finally, I wanted to say, if you're watching this and you think that your dog might have a fractured tooth, don't ignore it. We need to act on it. You might be wondering whether your dog's tooth might be suitable for a root canal treatment. It could well be. Even long-standing fractures, which may have been fractured for years, can lend themselves to salvage with root canal treatments. Instead of pulling out sort of slimy pink worms, we're more likely to be fishing out sort of black, horrible, slimy debris, which is sort of reminiscent of the stuff you might find around a neglected sinkhole or plug hole. But look, even these grossly contaminated, really unpleasant teeth can lend themselves to being salvaged with root canal treatment or extraction. But just please never ignore them. So thank you for watching this video. I'm going to leave you with Rufus being silly and lovable. But if you have any further questions, there will be some contact information at the very end, and there'll be an email address and a telephone number that will pop up. All right, all the best.